Topic 68, Writing a Conclusion. By the end of this podcast, you should be able to identify the two components of a conclusion paragraph. In a previous podcast, we learned that a successful summary sentence can usher a reader from one body paragraph into the next. Once the reader has finished reading the last body paragraph, he'll need your help to tie the major points of the essay together and to understand the larger significance of the entire essay. These are the dual purposes of the conclusion, and they should occur in this order. In the first sentence or two of the conclusion, restate your thesis in a new way. Often students mistakenly believe that they have already stated their thesis so many times that they don't need to do so again. In reality, they have only stated their entire thesis once, in the last sentence of the introduction. And while separate parts of the thesis have been reiterated in each topic sentence, the reader needs you to pull those distinct parts together again in the first sentence or two of the conclusion. After all, you know, or you should know, your thesis much better than the reader does who has only read it in its entirety once so far. After rephrasing your thesis statement in the first sentence or two of the conclusion of any history essay, explain the significance of the entire essay topic by linking it to events to come. For example, nodding to the impending Civil War at the end of the conclusion would be a perfect way to end the essay on slavery that we've been working with throughout these podcasts. After pressing pause, try to write your own concluding paragraph to the question that reads, describe the responses of slaves and freed African Americans to slavery and analyze how the institution of slavery changed between 1775 and 1830. Press pause now and write an ending to the conclusion. How did you do? Remember, no cheating. Make sure you've taken a stab at this exercise before taking a look at mine for another option. But remember that, like hooks in the introduction, closing words are among the most personal sentences of an analytical essay. There are no wrong or right responses here. My conclusion reads, Blacks, both slave and free, resisted slavery during the early Republican antebellum periods through a wide variety of methods. Despite their valiant efforts, the institution lurched westward and grew more repressive thanks to the demands of King Cotton and plantation owners. At the same time, the North's economy, built on wage labor, and its political ideals led to slavery's eventual abolition there. As the 1830s rolled into the 1840s, the sectional divide over slavery could be seen most strongly in the opposition to the Mexican-American War among many Northerners who viewed it as a conspiracy by Southerners to extend slavery to the far West. By the 1850s, violence in Kansas and Nebraska foreshadowed the impending Civil War, when the House divided over the issue of slavery would finally be torn apart during the bloodiest 4 years in our nation's history. While this conclusion neglects the final two topics, the responses of slaves and freed African Americans to slavery, in favor of the long-term implications of the first topic, it does fulfill the conclusion's dual role of wrapping up the essay's main points and suggesting the larger significance of the topic. In our final podcast on the writing process, we'll discuss the editing and citation processes.